brutal warriors or skilled explorers, ruthless raiders or brilliant craftsmen. The Vikings are one of the most misunderstood civilizations in history. But today, we're not just going to tell you about their conquests or the legends you've heard. We're diving deep into who the Vikings really were, how they lived, and the legacy they left behind. If you think you know the Vikings, think again. The word Viking often brings to mind images of violent raids, horned helmets, and endless battles. But what if we told you that there's much more to these legendary seafarers? The truth is, the Vikings were not just warriors. They were explorers, farmers, craftsmen, and traders who lived in close-knit communities and navigated some of the most treacherous seas in the world. The term Viking itself refers more to an activity than a people. To go Viking meant to embark on an expedition, often by sea, for trading, raiding, or settling new lands. The Vikings originated from Scandinavia, modern-day Norway, Sweden, and Denmark between the 8th and 11th centuries. Their homeland was cold and rugged, and resources were scarce, forcing them to look beyond their borders for survival and prosperity. Although known for their fierce warriors, the Vikings were also skilled craftsmen and builders. Their villages were bustling hubs of activity, where blacksmiths forged tools, women weaved intricate patterns into fabrics, and children learned from a young age the skills they would need to survive. Their homes, long houses made of timber and thatched roofs, were built to withstand the harsh northern climate. Inside, families gathered around central hearths to share meals and stories, passing down knowledge and cultural values from generation to generation. Social structure in Viking society was highly stratified. At the top were the Jarls, noble leaders who owned large tracts of land. Beneath them were the Carls, the free men, who were mostly farmers, traders, and warriors. At the bottom were the thralls, slaves captured during raids or born into servitude. Even in this rigid hierarchy, there was room for movement. A thrall could earn their freedom through loyalty and hard work, while a Carl could rise in status by proving their courage and skill in battle. Viking raids were not random acts of violence. They were carefully planned operations, often targeting rich monasteries and towns along the coastlines of Europe. These raids were motivated not only by the desire for wealth, but also by a need for resources that their harsh homeland could not always provide. The Viking longships, renowned for their speed and agility, allowed them to launch surprise attacks, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. While battle and conquest were integral to Viking culture, the Vikings were also strategic negotiators and diplomats. Many Viking leaders secured alliances through marriage or trade deals, ensuring peace and prosperity for their people. The famous Viking explorer, Leif Erikson, for instance, led expeditions not for war, but to establish new settlements in distant lands like Vinland, believed to be modern-day Newfoundland, Canada. His voyages show the Vikings' deep connection to exploration and discovery. The Vikings' legacy of exploration is one of their most impressive contributions to history. Long before Columbus set sail, the Vikings had already ventured across the Atlantic, establishing settlements in Iceland, Greenland, and North America. Their ability to navigate using the stars, ocean currents, and even the migratory patterns of birds made them exceptional sailors. They ventured into unknown territories, not only for conquest, but also to trade goods, establish colonies, and build alliances. One of the most extraordinary Viking expeditions was to the east, along the rivers of Russia and into the Byzantine Empire. These Norse traders and mercenaries, known as Varangians, were highly valued as bodyguards for the Byzantine emperors in Constantinople. The Viking reach was global, with their influence stretching from the Middle East to North America, far beyond the cold, rugged lands they called home. The Vikings left behind more than just tales of conquest and exploration. Their innovations in shipbuilding, particularly the design of the longship, revolutionized naval warfare and exploration. Their trade networks spanned continents, influencing the economies of Europe and beyond. Even today, remnants of Viking culture can be seen in the languages, laws, and traditions of countries they once touched. The Norse mythology continues to inspire literature, movies, and TV shows, keeping their legends alive in modern culture. The Viking spirit of adventure, resilience, and discovery is one that resonates across centuries, shaping the world as we know it today. Although the Vikings left behind rich sagas and stories of their gods, Viking religion was far more than myth. It shaped their worldview, dictating how they saw life, death, and honor. They believed in a universe governed by gods like Odin, Thor, and Freya, whose stories intertwined with the values of strength, wisdom, and fate. Odin, the All-Father, was revered as the god of war and knowledge, constantly seeking wisdom even at great personal cost, like sacrificing his own eye to gain insight into the mysteries of the universe. The Viking concept of fate, or word, was central to their beliefs. They believed that each person's life was predestined by the Norns, female beings who wove the fates of both gods and men. This belief in an unchangeable destiny helped them face death with courage, whether in battle or old age. The allure of Valhalla, the great hall where warriors slain in battle would feast for eternity, was a powerful motivator for Viking warriors, driving them to seek glory on the battlefield. By the 11th century, the Viking Age began to fade as Europe became more unified under Christian rule. The Vikings themselves were converted, sometimes willingly, sometimes by force. With the spread of Christianity came new alliances and treaties, and the role of the Viking raiders began to diminish. However, their influence did not simply vanish. The descendants of Vikings, like the Normans, went on to shape European history, most notably with William the Conqueror's invasion of England in 1066. As the Viking Age drew to a close, the once feared warriors had transformed into settlers, kings, and even saints. Viking traditions evolved, but their legacy lived on through the places they had settled and the cultures they had touched. Their exploration routes laid the foundation for later expeditions, and their trade networks helped shape the economic landscape of medieval Europe. The Vikings were more than just the raiders we see in popular culture. They were a people driven by a deep connection to their land, their gods, and their unyielding will to explore and expand the world they knew. Their legacy has transcended time, influencing our world in ways most of us don't even realize. But as we've seen today, there's so much more to their story. If you enjoyed this journey into Viking history, don't forget to subscribe to Immutable Stories and hit the bell so you never miss out. Leave a like and share this video with others who love history as much as you do.